Wrong turn! The name of this movie in itself signifies that something is really wrong. Something like that also happens in the film. What is it, you ask? Well, that's what we are going to talk about in this movie. All you need to know about Wrong Turn, Part 7. Stay with us till the end of the video to learn about everything, and let's get started. Wrong Turn, The Foundation, was the 7th movie in the Wrong Turn series. In this series, directed by Mike P. Nelson, there is no direct sequel. Instead, the story starts over and goes differently. It's a horror thriller with parts of mystery, intense psychological terror, and trying to stay alive. The story's about a group of friends who go hiking on the Appalachian Trail and get into a deadly fight with a hidden mountain village. The movie is a new take on the old wrong turn gone wrong trope. As the film begins, a group of friends decide to escape their city lives and hike along the Appalachian Trail. With Charlotte Vega as Jen Shaw, Aidan Bradley as Darius, and their friends Milia, Adam, Gary, and Luis, the group is made up of them. When they decide to go off on the market path, even though locals have warned them not to, their trip takes a dark turn. The scary things that happen next are set off by this choice. They find traps and signs that they are not alone as they go deeper into the woods. The group is surprised by the Foundation, a hidden, self-sufficient group of people who have lived alone in the mountains since before the Civil War. The Foundation has strict rules and punishments that are often cruel and unusual. It's run by a strict leader called Venable, played by Bill Sage. Jen and her friends are caught by the Foundation and put on trial for breaking the law and crimes against their community. The trial scenes are intense and show how the modern world and the Foundation's old and harsh justice system are at odds with each other. The friends have to find their way through this scary new world while still trying to get away from their fears and the moral problems that come up because of their situation. It turns and twists in ways you wouldn't expect, with betrayal, sacrifices, and scary moments. Jen in particular has changed a lot as a person. She goes from being a carefree hiker to a fierce fighter. The movie ends with an exciting but somewhat unfinished ending that leaves viewers wondering what will happen to the characters and what will happen to the Foundation in the future. The director of photos, Nick Junkersfeld, does a great job of using the Appalachian Mountains' natural beauty to make the peaceful and the scary stand out. Wide shots of the lush green woods and rough terrain are stunning and give the impression of being far away and alone. A lot of the time, these calm scenes are followed by tight, suffocating shots that build anxiety and make you feel trapped. The setting of this film is like a maze because of the thick woods and narrow trails, which make the character situation feel even worse. Natural lighting, like dappled sunlight coming through the trees during the day and creepy shadows surrounding the figures at night, makes the story seem more real. There is more movement with the camera during action scenes, using shaky cam and quick cuts to show chaos and urgency. The cinematography is also very important to the scary parts of the movie. The angles and views are used very well to build suspense and give good jump scares. The editing in the movie is clean and precise, which makes a big difference in the movie's flow and overall effect. The editing team, which is led by Tom Elkins, makes sure that the story flows easily by balancing slow scenes that build suspense with fast scenes that get your heart racing. Before putting the characters in danger, the movie starts with a slow build-up that shows who they are and how they relate to each other. This careful pacing lets the audience connect with the main characters and understand what drives them, which makes their danger more powerful. As things get worse for the group, the editing shows how scared and desperate they are by cutting faster and switching between different points of view. Flashbacks are used vividly but successfully, giving important background information and setting without getting in the way of the main story. Looking into the characters' past gives them more meaning and helps us understand why they do the things they do, with well-timed cuts that keep the audience wondering and on edge. One thing that stands out about the cutting is how it handles the trial scenes. You can feel the stress as there are close-ups of the characters' worried faces and wider shots of the Foundation members who look intimidating and critical. The way these scenes are edited brings out the power differences and makes you feel even more afraid and wronged. The Appalachians are shown in all their beauty, with their dense forests and rough terrain, making a beautiful background for the horrible events that happen. The landscape is used very well in the visuals, with tall trees, rocky outcrops, and dark, scary caves. These places aren't just background details. They play a part in the story and add to the feeling of being alone and in danger. Another great thing to look at is how the Foundation's village is built. The production team made a world that feels both old and dangerous, and it's easy to imagine yourself living in it. There's a mix of simple and makeshift buildings in the village, along with symbols and artifacts that show the community's long past and strict rules of behavior. This setting is both interesting and scary, putting people into the world of the Foundation while also making them feel uneasy. The movie isn't afraid of blood and violence, and the realistic effects used to show injuries and violence work well. Makeup and effects are done so well that they make the more gory scenes feel more real. These images aren't extra. They are meant to show how harsh the Foundation's rules are and how dangerous things are for the main characters. As the story goes on, the bright, natural colors of the daytime scenes give way to darker, more faded tones, which shows how the characters are becoming more and more scared. Low lighting and shadows in night scenes make the fear of the unknown stronger, making every rustle in the trees and shadowy figure seem like it could be a threat. Graham Resnick's in charge of the sound design, which carefully creates an auditory experience that builds stress and goes well with the visuals. Forest sounds like moving leaves, breaking twigs, and faraway animal calls are used to make people feel uneasy and excited. These background sounds are sometimes boosted to a startling level, which makes the audience very aware of where the actors are. The quiet times are just as powerful, and they often come before a scare or a dramatic reveal. Stephen Lukich wrote the music, which is another important part. The score uses a mix of horror tunes and sharp, sudden notes to make you feel everything from fear to shock. When a lot's going on, the music gets louder, and when things calm down, it goes to a low hum or quiet to let the sound and images take center stage. Character growth is an important part of the film, especially for Jin Shaw, the main character. At the beginning of the movie, Jin's shown to be smart and a daring young woman who's excited to try new things with her friends. As the story goes on and things get worse for the group, Jin's character is tested to the limit, showing how strong and tough she is. One of the most interesting things about the movie is how she changes from a carefree hiker to a determined fighter. Extreme events also change Jin's bond with her boyfriend Darius, putting it to the test. Darius, who seems sure of himself and full of hope at first, has to face the harsh facts of their situation, which causes him to grow as a person. It's the complicated way that the characters of the Foundation are presented that gives the story more depth. Venable's not a one-dimensional bad guy. He's a leader who cares about the way of life in his town. The way he acts around Jin and the other characters shows how deeply he feels about what he believes and how far he'll go to protect his people. One of the main themes of the movie is survival, both in the sense that the characters fight to stay alive, and in the sense that they fight to keep their identities and morals. In cases where life or death is at stake, the story looks at how far people will go and the moral problems that come up. The clash of nations and the idea of civilization versus primitivism is another important theme. The Foundation stands for an old, rigid, and unbending way of life that's very different from the major characters' modern, liberal values. The trial scenes and the interactions between the two groups show this clash of cultures, which makes you think about justice, morals, and what it means to be civilized. So what part of this movie did you enjoy the most? Share with us in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more great content.